Welcome, welcome. Good night. How is everyone doing? Happy Monday. I'm good. Hello, Curtis. How are you? Make sure you share the live. We're going to have a great conversation tonight. You okay? That's good. Hopefully everyone had a good Monday. I'm glad everyone can hear me. How was everyone's weekend? Just gonna wait a few more minutes to get a few more people on here, so make sure you share it. Yes. Yes, it is. Is this show pan everything? Yeah. All things pan. Yes. Make sure you share the live. We have a great guest tonight. He's going to talk about his experience with steelpan, where he's from. We're going to talk about how he got involved, all that fun stuff. So make sure you share it. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes before we get started. Let me know how your Monday went, how your weekend went. Let me know how you're doing. Welcome, welcome. Gonna wait a couple more minutes before we get started. Hello, Mr. Shadow West. Welcome, welcome. How was everyone's Monday? How was your weekend? Hello, Chills. Welcome. Happy Monday. Hopefully everyone had a good weekend. Make sure you share. We're going to start in a few minutes here. I've had a busy weekend. I don't know about you guys, but my weekend was a little busy. My day was busy, but it was a good busy. It was all about pan. It was a pan weekend going into the week. Welcome, welcome, welcome to All Things Pan. I am your host, Danielle George. We are sponsored by Pantastics 868. They are pinned at the bottom of your screen there. They have everything from tenor sticks all the way to bass sticks. If you live in North America, message me and I will try my best to get them to you. I know I have one pair of tenor sticks left, but yeah, I'll do what I can to get the sticks to you. To answer Pan Man Curtis' question, I am based in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. For those that are new, I pretty much put this page together, or this podcast together, just to talk to panists, tuners, arrangers, pan builders, pan enthusiasts about all things pan. So on that note, I would you guys my guests for the evening, Mr. Desmond McAllister. How are you?
I'm doing all right. And yourself?
I'm good.
Good,
I'm
good.
good. How was your weekend?
Busy, but no complaints. Everything is
There
good.
you go.
Yeah.
And you had a good Monday?
Uh, Again, busy, but really productive. So
Okay, that's good. That's all you can ask for.
exactly.
Oh my goodness. So before we get started, I want to just let you know, we're going to start off with the questions easy.
Yep.
If anyone that's watching, if you have any questions, put it in the question bubble below. He's in the hot seat. He can't leave. So you have to answer your questions.
Wow.
And last but not least, we'll ask you some fun questions near the end. So
All right. Sounds good.
it'll be easy, hard, then fun.
No problem.
Okay, cool.
Ready to go. Yeah.
All right. So first question, easy.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Desmond McAllister, and how did you, or who introduced you to pan?
Okay. Well, my name is Desmond McAllister. I'm born and raised here in Regina, Saskatchewan. My mother is a Trinidadian. My father's Canadian. And how did I get into pan? Well, when my dad married my mother, he went to Trinidad and he fell in love with steel band when he was down there.
Right.
And what he did is that he bought a tenor and a double second, brought it home back to Regina with the intentions of learning.
Right.
Never happened. So, growing up with pans all around, always playing around with it, and then I actually got to see a live steel band perform here, and which piqued my interest. And then we went to Trinidad for Carnival in 1984, so I was about 6 years old, and I got to see the big steel bands like
Right.
that 19 Fontclair. I got to see them in the road on Carnival Tuesday. It was incredible. I could still, it still raises my pores. So it's just to think about it, because it was just such an awesome experience.
Yeah.
When I first got involved was back here in Regina with the Carib Steel Orchestra, which was sponsored by the Saskatchewan Caribbean Canadian Association, under the directorship of Mr. Everett Beckles. So I started just playing basic 3-chord songs on a triple cello.
Mm-hmm.
I played triple cello for about close to 8 years, until I started fooling around and arranging, like playing with other pans and getting a feel for how they work, and yeah, it just piqued my interest. So
Okay, so triple cello is your first love, is what you're saying?
still is my first love.
Okay, I'll try to get you the tenor side, but that's okay.
Well, I'm a tenor player because I don't have a triple cello here with me, but tenor is a close second.
Should be your first, but we'll move on. So, we did play a song from a band in Regina, Pacesetters. They played Iron Man. You are a part of that.
Yes, I'm the founder of that steel orchestra.
Is that band still around? How is that?
Well, due to COVID, we took a bit of a hit, but we're in the process of getting things started again. I had a little bit of a setback earlier this month. I was hoping to do it to start up by the end of this month, but it just didn't work out. Okay. We'll probably get started sometime this month again. Just kind of get shake off the rust and so on.
Yeah.
Recruit some new members and hopefully grow a bit too. That's
good. That's good. Are there any other steel bands in Saskatchewan, or is Pacesetters the only one right now?
There's 3 to my knowledge. There's Pacesetters Steel Orchestra based here in Regina. There's actually a Shriner Steel Band in Indian Head, Saskatchewan, a small town in Saskatchewan. They've been around for years now.
Right.
And And then we've got the Saskatchewan Caribbean Cultural Association Steel Band in Saskatoon.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've been around since almost just a little bit longer than what was previously known as a Carib Steel Orchestra here in Regina. The Saskatoon was the first band in Saskatchewan.
Okay, nice, nice. So it's good to know that steel bands are alive and well in Saskatchewan?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. So knowing that there's three steel bands, is it hard to get players to be involved in the bands? Or
Um,
do you find that problem as I find that problem here in Edmonton? Like they're interested in it, and once they realize, okay, they have to show up every Friday or whatever day of the week
exactly.
for 2 to 3 hours, they're just like it's too much. Do you have
I
that same
do.
problem?
I do at times. Luckily, since the last few years of the Carib Steel Orchestra, I was able to have a good core group. So I had tenors, double second, guitar pan, and bass, and a
Hmm.
drummer. When we left, when the Carib Steel Orchestra folded, we shifted over and decided, well, we can't let this just go.
Right.
So less than a year later, we formed Pace of the Steel Orchestra, and we've actually formed an umbrella group called the West Indian Culturals, which because we don't want to exclusively do pan alone, because there's a lot of people who have all other cultural contributions they can make, like in dance
Hmm.
and music and other ways too. So I wanted to do something that envelops everything, because we have such a small community here. We have to kind of make things work for everybody as best as we can, right?
Right. Right. So what is your plan to expand on that from like starting today, we'll just say? What would your plan be?
Well, to expand, there has been quite a few people asking after they've heard our core group perform. A lot of people, it did generate a lot of interest.
Mhm.
So a lot of people come to me asking to play. The problem is with pace setters prior to COVID is that we're so used to playing together.
Right.
We didn't particularly have a set day per week, so there'd be months where we wouldn't perform. We get we hear, okay, we've got a gig on so and so date a month before, we'll get together and we'll sound like we never missed a beat.
Right.
So that's what I meant. I was really spoiled that way, but
Yeah.
now people, some members moved away, like to Calgary and Toronto. So luckily, there's people who are willing to come in and fill the holes,
Hmm.
like people who played in previous steel bands, as well as people who are just intrigued by it and want to learn.
Right.
So
Right. Okay. So from your experience from the time you started playing pan to now, how do you think steel pan or steel bands are being seen? Are they seeing as a novelty still? Are they starting to realize it's an instrument and we can
well,
play?
that's my whole thing with my preview on Pan. I try to give everybody the most um, uh, concentrated form of our culture as possible, right?
Right.
I avoid playing the typical Yellowbird, Island in the Sun type of thing,
Yeah.
um, because I want to show people that that there's beauty in our own music, in our Caribbean music, right?
Mhm.
Um, Particularly calypso and soca and chutney and things like that. We play a lot of that. We do play American music too, of course,
Yeah.
um, but um, but we really concentrate on Caribbean music, authentic Caribbean music. We've
Nice.
always we've done that for years, and that formula really has been working. When I first started playing, we played a lot of um, those type of, like, Island in the Sun, Deo,
Right.
and those songs.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I found that when we started playing our own music and showing that we enjoy what we play, we're not playing it just to please someone else. We're playing to please ourselves as well.
Hmm.
And by us showing, like giving an energy off of it when we're performing, it
Yeah.
pulls the crowd in, and then generates that interest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So, has your band, your core group, have you guys traveled outside of Saskatchewan?
No, we haven't had that
No.
opportunity really. We would basically play in Saskatoon every folk fest in beginning of August.
Hmm.
We have been invited like to a couple different places, but it just like initially, and then it would just fall through for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah, but generally we've been just within Saskatchewan, but throughout Saskatchewan as well.
Yeah. Do you guys
Yeah,
plan on expanding outside of Saskatchewan when you guys get back together?
but yeah, we would any
Yeah.
opportunity outside, of course, we would take it. Because we're basically our band is they're all young adults. I'm the eldest of the group of everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's an excitement when you travel, and there's a bond you get with your band members as well when you travel as well.
Hmm.
So it's nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good to know. Keep that in mind.
absolutely.
I have ideas for you. I have some ideas for you.
Very great.
So you mentioned you are an arranger for your band as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how does that come about? Did you need an arranger at that time? Did someone ask you?
No, with previous orchestra, I was 15 years old. I got I I I was actually gifted a tenor pen from the leader.
Oh wow.
And I just started playing around and saying, okay, well, like, because I don't read music really.
Okay.
Everything is by ear. And so I just started realizing, okay, these are patterns, and then it started all making sense to me. Everything was coming together
Hmm.
because I understand, because by that time I was able to play guitar pan, triple cello, bass, and double seconds. So when I got this tenor pan, everything kind of came together that way.
Right.
And just through when I started with my first couple of arrangements, they were horrible, really. um, but but I had a lot of guidance from those who taught me before. When they
Hmm.
saw that I was taking that keen interest in bands, so you had people like uh, Herman Collins from Winnipeg. He's deceased now.
Yeah.
He really took me under his wing for a lot of things, like when it comes to understanding how pans are tuned. Like I don't tune myself, but I did have that interest. I still
Right.
do. Uh, Solomon McSween was another one. Albert John, he's based out of Toronto. He was previously out of Winnipeg,
Hmm.
and as well as well, most recently was Tommy Critchlow. He's the
Right.
one that really took me under his wing, and he taught me a lot. That man is a total wealth of knowledge.
So much
Um,
knowledge.
yeah, like it's like when from the time he sits down, it was just I was like, wow. Yeah.
Hmm.
It took me a while
Yeah.
to get used to his to his teaching style.
Hmm.
Um, because he has that old kind of pan man type of vibes to him, and
Yeah.
but once you get past that kind of exterior, you can see the love that he has for the instrument, and
Hmm.
he really wants to share that information with anybody who'll take him seriously.
Yeah.
So and he really helped with the founding of the with the Pace Steel Orchestra. As soon as I said I wanted my own band, he said, Desmond, I'll give you the pans for a discount price.
Oh wow.
And he was incredible. He still is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, for sure. Do you find the older generation that are pan men, pan women
Mm-hmm.
kind of hold that knowledge that we all know that they have and they don't want to share? Do you find that?
I haven't had that experience whatsoever.
Okay,
Luckily, like
good.
even from Herman Collins, he used to be uh, he was part of the National Steel Orchestra, so he played with and like from the 1960s. So he was
Hmm.
playing with legendary players like Bobby Mohammed of Guinness Cavaliers,
Yeah.
um, uh, Butch Kellman, famous pan tuner, um, and a number of others. And
Hmm.
but he was like a second dad to me in a lot of ways too. So whenever we come to a jam,
Right.
he'd stay at our place, close friends with
Nice.
us. So,
Yeah.
so just sitting around and talking with him, even when we're not in the pan yard, we'd be talking pan, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was always willing to give that knowledge
That's good. And I hope you're sharing the knowledge too with your.
as much as I possibly can.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
I tend to grab onto those things and remember it, and
Yeah.
I try to document it, as much of it as possible as well.
Yeah, for sure. So going back to your arranging, what is your
Mhm.
style of arranging? Do you do the melody first? Do you do the chords first? Like, what's your strategy going into it?
I start with the front line, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because like I really start with that, but then I kind of work from the top down as opposed to a lot of arrangements start from the bottom up, right?
Yeah.
Um, but because the reason why I do tenor down is because I'm the main tenor player in my band, right?
Okay.
And so I have to make sure I know what I'm playing before I get everybody else's stuff.
That's fair. That's fair.
Um, so, but at the same time, I I do a lot of work on the tenor, but I like to hear a strong middle rhythm section, right? Like so,
Mhm.
double second and guitar have to be perfect for me.
Tight. Yep.
I'm a very tough arranger when it comes to teaching. My band knows that they're used to me. Like most people wouldn't see me as that crazy type of guy, but
Right.
when I know that they could do it and they're not doing it, I give them a little bit of a I give them a bit of pressure, you could say.
Gotcha. So are you the type of arranger that will take your stick and hit their hand?
No, no, no,
Okay.
no.
Just
I'm
checking.
not
Just checking.
violent.
Just checking. Just checking. I mean,
um,
if you are, that's fine.
no, but I've been known to be the side of a pan or even dent a cowbell. I've done it before.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. There's actually one funny thing that my band members always laugh at me about. A few years back for our local carnival here,
Hmm.
I said we have a song that we want to play. The band was in on it, loved it, and on the road they decided to kind of give a halfway thing. And I lost my mind on them.
I
Like
can
they
imagine.
still laugh. I stopped. I told them what I had to say, and were filled with all types of words. And then instantaneously, bam, they were on it and played perfectly for the rest of the thing. And but we laughed, like really, really laughed afterwards. But
Yeah.
it was hilarious. But now that I look back at it, but I just snapped because I
Hmm.
know that they have the talent. Um, I taught them all myself, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know what they're capable of, and
Right.
that kind of showed them that I'm not that pushover type of guy. We're going to do this. Let's do it right because this is our culture that we're trying to portray. Right.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
something that a lot of people went to jail for, died for even,
Hmm.
and we have to honor that. You know.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people to say, "Oh, it's just that band playing that steel drum band playing their garbage cans and stuff." As I'm sure you've heard before, things like those types of
Yep.
comments. I want to show
Yep.
them that we're serious. We love what we do, and we want to make our space,
Hmm.
and we want to be counted.
100%. Yep. Yep. For sure. When you guys play at gigs, do people take you guys seriously as they would
Absolutely.
like a? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, because I've like in addition with the band, we've got a lot of strong support in terms of like our directorship. Like my wife is a director of the band, also with a couple of the parents. Even though they're no longer kids, the parents are
Hmm.
still helping. Like they're there
That's
for
good.
us, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to have that, and they're able to pull a lot of people to see what steel band is. I've always been I've always allowed them to have that hands-on approach with people who want to see with the pan. They come and try
Hmm.
it. Don't hit
Yeah.
the pan too hard, but you could try it. Like,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of people appreciate that, and I think that has also generated a lot of interest. They can see that it's hands-on, you know.
Hmm. And not from a recording down the street.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
So when you going back to your arranging, do you pick all the songs? Do you kind of pick a few and your band decides what they want to go with?
Typically, if I hear a song and I really like it, I'll say, "Here, guys, this is what we got." And typically, they give it all. They let me do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll beg them and say, "Guys, I don't listen to so and so type of music, but I think it would be good to have this music. You guys give me some ideas." Um, we did like for instance, my musical. tastes are in soca, calypso, chutney, reggae, and stuff like that. I don't really listen to much American music per se.
Right.
I do like
Right.
it, but um, I'm not like I don't listen to the radio regularly. Only at work I'll listen to radio.
Right.
Um, so sometimes I'll say, okay, well, is there a big song you guys want to play? And then they'll send me the track and I'll figure it out and we'll play it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if a
Nice.
song, yeah, it's like so.
Yeah.
Like for instance, we did once a long time ago. I requested that, and one girl, no steel band background whatsoever. She played tenor, and she worked out the tenor line for "No One" by Alicia Keys.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was like, wow, okay, you do okay. Let me help you out with this. It
Yeah.
was great. It was great to see, and it shows that I was on the right track with these guys too. And
Yeah. For sure.
she was a teenager at the time too, so
Oh
to see
wow.
that she had that interest was great.
Mm-hmm. Do you think she'd also want to arrange? Have you let her arrange a couple songs?
Well, she's moved away, so I don't even know if she's
Oh,
involved
okay.
in that anymore, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was encouraging to see that though.
Yeah, for sure. It fills your heart when you see that what you've taught to your players,
Hmm.
they're doing their own thing, and it makes you happy. Makes you like a proud parent.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
So you are also a soloist. I've seen you
Yes.
do your thing around Saskatchewan. I've seen it.
Yep. Hmm.
How what made you decide to become a soloist? Did it just happen? Did someone ask you to play at a gig and it just
Yeah, well, it was a few different things. Like like my uncle was involved in the like he used to work for social services at one time, and whenever he'd have a cultural get together or like a workshop, or whatever, he'd have me come in and talk about pan at a young age, believe it or not,
right?
and then give a demonstration. And then it's only recently I really started to take soloing a little more seriously.
Mm,
Just prior to COVID, like maybe a year or two before COVID, I started putting myself out as a soloist. Um,
mhm.
I'm in no way, shape, or form a person that could play off the cuff like that, like in terms of
Yeah,
like to improvise on the spot. I'm not like that as of yet.
right.
But playing like with different combos. I'm part of a group that specializes in African and Caribbean music, and it was there I was able to kind of understand
Mm,
freestyle extempoing, whatever you want to call it, on the
right.
instrument, and it just gave me that opportunity. So I'm getting better, but I'm not confident enough to go out and do that. So what
Yeah.
I'll do is I'll usually get a karaoke version of a song, because when I play I like to play with the original if possible, the original
Right.
instrumental. I'm not one for the MIDI sound per se. I want it to be
Mhm.
as close to the original as possible, because the original brings up vibes to the music as well, right?
Yeah.
So I'll
Yeah.
sit there and then I'll try and work out a little bit of mini arrangement within it, and
Hmm.
go with it.
Nice. So
Yeah.
when you go out on your gigs, do you have pretty much a set list that you want to play, or
Typically,
do you start off like that and then kind of feel the vibes after?
I typically have a set 30-minute set, you could
Hmm.
say, where I know what to expect. So I play a variety of music in that. Like I'll play like um, like so a couple 80s pop music,
Right.
um, play a Bob Marley, like those songs. Those are the types of music that will draw people's attention. And once
Hmm.
you have your attention, you could get into the real thing, like a Lord Kitchener or a
Right.
Sparrow, or even with the new rhythms and stuff like that. I can
Hmm.
introduce. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you as a soloist, putting the band aside for a minute,
Hmm.
for you as a soloist, again, are you taking serious as a soloist? Whereas when they hire you, they're like, "Oh, I thought you were going to charge like $50 or $100."
No, no,
No.
no. I
Okay.
call my price, and I've turned down gigs. I don't play the days in order for. Okay, well, let me put it this way. Um, Roland Harrigan came to Regina one time to tune our band,
Mhm. Yeah.
and Roland saw what I was doing and not charging a cent. It's all volunteer work.
Right.
And he pulled me aside and he gave me the best advice anybody's ever given me. Desmond, let them show their appreciation by paying you.
Yeah.
And since I started calling my price, people have been taking me seriously. And you could feel that appreciation too. Because if you're just coming to play for a meal or for exposure, you're not taken seriously then.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I call my price, and if you could afford it, great. And if not, that's your business. I'm sorry. Because the saxophonist, you have no problem paying $1,000 to, or a pianist or anything like that. I want I don't want to sound like I'm greedy, but I value my talent and
your time.
And my time, exactly. Because it's not just throwing the pan in and the sound system and you go. There's so much that goes into it, right?
Yeah. And I feel like that's what people think when they hire you.
Yeah.
Or hire any soloist. You just take your pan and go play, and it's not like that. There's practice. We got to pay rent. We got to pay mortgage. We got a phone bill to pay for, and
And even with the price of gas and everything now, it's been lately. It's just you have to cover your costs too.
Exactly.
And then because where we are in Edmonton and Saskatchewan, it costs a lot of money to bring a tuner out here.
Yes.
So we. I was listening to the track you're playing with my band, and I'm cringing because I'm hearing one of the bands. And I think that was from a performance in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
And we were it was at that point where the bands have already taken a beating from that entire weekend because it's a full weekend of performing.
Okay.
And it was just before we were able to get the tuner in too. So. Yeah.
I don't know why it's so hard to get a tuner up here. Learn how to tune quick.
I was really, really contemplating that, but the thing is that I don't have the time. Like my schedule doesn't allow me to go to Trinidad or even Toronto for a month or 2 months to learn the basics, right? I have some old pans I have in my garage that I could maybe knock around a little bit, but I would be totally horrified if I was to go in and just go to your band, tune the band, and then realize that I messed up and I can't fix it. I'm scheduled out with my own band because I'm like.
I was gonna say, don't say that too loud because pan tuners may come free.
No, but I could do basic on the spot, like a little hit on the other side just to kind of put it kind of back in somewhat shape. But nothing professional by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
As I said, I watched Tommy Critchlow and how he sits there with that stroke tuner, and he's explaining everything to me about tuning the note itself. Then you have to tune a third to it or the fifth.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I've doing a lot of these podcasts and interviews and also seeing webinars. There's a lot of science into pan tuning, and I
totally
didn't even I've watched pan tuners do it in real life, like in person, but never realized there was so much science behind it.
Oh yeah, totally. And even some pan makers are looking at the thickness of every note, so the entire note, to make sure that it's all uniform. And they're using special sensors, and wow.
It's went from just tuning in a yard somewhere to inside of a place with a lot of machines and ears and
it's
a lot.
It's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But it's encouraging to see, because now even the pan makers can call their price. You're getting a quality instrument every single, 99% of the time. You're getting a quality instrument because now they have a name that they have to upkeep.
Exactly. Funny you mentioned that. Someone asked me how much a pan was, and I'm like, well, much are you willing to spend? He's like, I don't know, 1,000, 1,500. I'm like, where?
Depends on who you know too.
Where are you getting that?
Yeah, but to see Mitco come about in Trinidad, I think that was a wonderful development recently. Um, and to hear the quality of their pans have been just fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's something that I wish them all the best, because I've seen some other groups like in the States make beautiful pans, like Manette Instruments, for instance. I would die to get a pan like that, but I don't have the money to fork out for one of those, right?
The person of Mitco is in here, Kua Leith. I don't know if you're still here. I like that gold pan that you gave away there.
Did you see that? Dr. Panali in Guyana.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's the only other one I've ever seen was when I was small, and I have the footage up on my YouTube page. Super Blue, then known as Blue Boy, playing a golden tenor for the Mashkara in the Calypso Monarch finals. And
really?
I'll send you the link.
I need a gold one.
Yeah.
Well, I will support your brand if you can get me a gold one.
Exactly.
So for those that just joined, we are talking with Desmond McAllister from Saskatchewan about all things pan. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. Put them in the question bubble below so I don't miss it. Smooth by Sugar said, I never realized you had to retune or calibrate your pan.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yes, you do. Yeah. You do.
It's an extensive venture. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And CASGC says hello. I don't know who that is.
Sure.
They know you, supposedly.
Okay, hello, all the same.
Yeah. So, how often do you think you have to tune your pan?
I try to do at least once a year.
Once a year?
I try.
Yeah.
Usually at when the tuner comes out this way, then I'll get them to do. But in all reality, it's maybe once every 1.5 years, 2 years. As I said, with the cost of airline tickets now, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would like to see like the Western bands, like from Winnipeg to BC, kind of form like an alliance of some sort to so then when a tuner, just say, goes to Winnipeg, they could do a whole tour throughout the Western provinces to tune, right? And we could kind of share the costs a bit that way too.
I'm working on it.
Yep. Well, talk to me. I'm always willing to network. Networking is everything.
Yeah, I'm definitely working on it. The tuner that I'm bringing in only has a week, so he can't really do the whole thing. But when he has time, don't worry. It's in the plans. I already spoke to him about it.
Well, even tell me when he comes out, he's like, "Boy, why don't get some of the bands together?" So when I come, because when he comes to tune my band, I have such a small band. He's done within 3-4 hours. He's looking for something to do. So,
yeah.
So but so far I've got Regina, Indian Head, and Saskatoon. We're pretty much all together for that. But I would like to expand to different tuners as well. See what best fits us.
Yeah.
Tommy, he's incredible, and I'll stick with him as long as I possibly can, because what he's done for me and my band, you can't discount that in any way.
100%.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. Every band has their tuner that they will ride or die for.
Exactly. And the thing is that he made our pans, so then he knows he knows all the ins and outs of our pans really well.
Right.
So.
Right. That's good. I'm just trying to think of some other questions for you, because you answered them all really well.
Oh, thank you.
So, for you as a soloist, are you planning to go to Trinidad to play for Panorama or Japan or anywhere else?
And this is one thing that a lot of people don't realize with me. They always say, "Oh, Des, what band do you play with when you go back home?" I'm like, I've been to Trinidad almost every year of my life, and
Mm.
I have never played with a steel band in my entire life. In Trinidad, that is. I've gone into the panyards. I've been to because my family's from South Trinidad, so I'm in San Fernando a lot of the time. So I'll go
Mm-hmm.
to Pan Elders, I'll go to Hatters, I'll go by Skiffle Bunch, Fontclair. Like those are the but that's when I go at Christmas time or shortly after Christmas time.
Right.
I've only been for Carnival twice, and the last time I went for Carnival was 2010. I was getting all set up to go for Panorama, and then my wife got really, really sick
Oh no.
on Carnival Friday. So everything.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there in my in-laws' house watching it all on television, and I'm
Mhm.
like tears.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm so
You're
close.
so close yet so far.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was a horrible thing for me,
Oh my goodness.
but what don't kill this fatten, you know? So and
Yeah.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
have a few Pan friends in here. So next time we're in Trinidad, I'm gonna message them and be like, he's here,
Yeah.
take him, and he's
Yeah.
playing.
All right. Sounds good. I'm good with that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I
But
think
yeah, but even though I haven't been to Trinidad and experienced Panorama, um I archive a lot of this stuff. The panoramas from the first year when I went in 1984.
mhm.
Um I have video footage from then, a good chunk of it all the way up until now.
Oh wow.
Um so uh I was able to listen. That 1984 Panorama still stands as my favorite of all time because the music, even the type of music back then,
Yeah.
before apart from the realm of Panorama, the music itself was different. Um,
Yeah.
so I was able to really study what Exodus played, what All Stars played, Renegades,
Mhm.
Desperados, Tokyo, and I really studied that so much so that I think I worn out that tape.
That's hilarious.
um, and a lot of other tapes since then. But yeah, my arranging style, I kind of borrow from a lot of different bands,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Arranges rather. So you'll hear hints of Ken Professor Fillmore, Jit Samaru, Leon Smooth Edwards, Bugsy Sharp, um, uh, 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 Clyde Bradley, things like that.
Hmm.
Like these guys are my heroes, really. You know, and
Yeah.
it's and to hear these newer arrangements like Dupont Stewart, it's a phenom.
Yeah.
I just and yeah, it's good to see that the younger arrangers are starting to come up in the whole game too. Um,
Hmm.
Andre White is another incredible panist.
Amazing.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, it's and I get a lot of energy from watching these videos and studying what they do. Because
Hmm.
when I listen to music, I don't know about you, but when I listen to music, I try to piece every single every single instrument as best as
Yeah.
possible. So
Yeah.
I'll like listen, like my wife's just like, why are you listening to the same thing over and over and over again? I said, because I listened to the vocals this time. Next time I have to listen to the guitar. It's like you hear how the bass playing and you hear how how the
Hmm.
keys are playing. And now that you're able to use things like stems now,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier.
So much easier.
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna ask you about your. I think you said you have a YouTube page with all like the history of
Yeah,
music and everything from Trinidad, right?
yeah. It's Trini Desi, TRINIDESI. That's my channel on YouTube. You just put in youtube.com/Trini Desi. You'll see a lot of different things I like from my personal archives.
Hmm.
Um, it took a lot, and I'm still trying to digitize a lot of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so you'll see raw, unadulterated calypso. You'll hear really traditional chucking music. You'll
Oh,
see
wow.
I have a couple full length Dimashq broadcasts that I put up on there. Uh, some panorama stuff, like full panoramas. I think I have 92 in the full broadcast of 1991 panorama, both the panorama neck and the conventional vamps.
Wow.
So I basically just put the tape to play and let it digitize, and woke up the next day, did the editing, and threw
Yeah.
it up.
So how did you get the idea to do that? What made you do that? Like, why?
Well, I
I
have
appreciate it though.
I have a lot of friends that are online that are deep into the cultural thing as well. Like there's a WhatsApp group with me and 5 other guys, and all we do is talk about calypso and steel band and cultural things, right?
Right.
Soca and all these things, and it's and I've been talking to these guys for years, and I'm like, I gotta find a way to share this stuff with these guys, because I told them I have the footage, but
Yeah.
I'm able to share it. So now I'm able to do that.
Nice.
YouTube, I figured it out and I went with it.
Nice. So
Yeah.
for those that just joined, do you want to repeat that YouTube page again so people can subscribe and see all the great footage?
Absolutely. www.youtube.com/Trinidesi, TRINIDESI.
Nice. And you can see pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I take requests if because I'm always digging.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. There's a lot of people that are going to school for Pan and want to know the history. So
Absolutely.
the fact that you have it on there, it's amazing.
Yeah. So it's like every year I used to ask my aunt to record it for me and save it for whenever we go to Trinidad next. So sometimes I come back with so many video, like VHS tapes, like half of a suitcase full.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was so yeah, it's a lot of footage. And so I was glad when I started getting DVDs instead.
So much easier.
Exactly. It's pre-edited and everything, so just good to go.
Hit play. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we go, if anyone has any questions, now is your time to ask. We're gonna get to the fun part now.
Okay.
What is one fun fact about you that no one knows? That is PG, that we can rebroadcast this way.
Don't worry, I'm pretty PG.
Okay.
I'm a percussionist all around. I don't play pan alone. I also for years with the steel band, I played drums. I was on the drum set, and that kind of helped me hear different parts of the orchestra as well, right? I also sing. I dabble a bit on keyboards and some Indian instruments as well. Due to my background, and actually, even though I'm half Trinidadian, it was my father, who's Canadian, that really got me into that. My mother's family is was more church oriented, and she came from a place in Trinidad called Barrackpore, which is a predominantly East Indian area of Trinidad, where you don't hear much steel band. You can hear Tassa, you could hear chutney, you hear East Indian music all the time, and of course you hear local music, like local Trinidadian, like soca and reggae and stuff. But steel band is very, very difficult to get to. So I have to when I go, I have to drive to San Fernando or Princestown in order to get a taste of pan. I have to actively search for it. So in the few little jaunt I've had to Port of Spain, when I pass the Renegades Spaniard, I'm all stars right there. I'm like jaw to the ground.
I can only imagine. I would be crying.
That's just passing the Spaniard. Nothing's going on inside there. I'm like, wow.
I would be crying. I'd be like, I'd go touch the wall. I would kiss the ground. So have you thought about taking pan to schools in Saskatchewan?
I've honestly that opportunity hasn't really come up for me. There was one. Actually, no. There was once where one technical high school asked if I would teach a group between so and so times, and it just didn't work
Mhm.
with my schedule, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
soon we'll make it work. We'll make it happen.
All right. I'm
XS,
ready.
yeah.
Yeah.
X2 board said, "Thanks for spreading the gospel of Pan up here in the Great White North."
That's my brethren, Ravi. So
Nice. So he knows what's going on.
thank you, Ravi. I appreciate the words.
So just Chris has a question. What's
Mhm.
one band, local and international, besides your own, that you would love to play or work with?
Like steel band.
Hmm.
Um, Internationally, um, I'm in terms of steel bands. My heart is with Renegades. I'm a huge
I knew you were
Renegades
going to say that.
fan. But don't get me wrong. I would drop out any opportunity to work with any of those bands.
Hmm.
All Stars, Desperados, Phase Two, Silver Stars, any one of them. I would not ever say no to working with any one of them.
Right?
Yeah, because the admiration I have for them and how they have really influenced me throughout the years, it's incredible, and it
Yeah.
gives me the energy and drive to continue. Right.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I
Um,
was gonna,
locally, I'm like within Canada. I can't pick any one band because I've heard a lot of bands and I
hmm.
like different things about each one.
Right.
Right. Like I played with your band just briefly playing a little iron for Carry Fest in Calgary, and it
Yeah.
was nice. I enjoyed hearing you guys, and then I can't remember the other band I played just before you. They were
Mm,
fantastic as well.
I think
I
that
think Pan
was Pan
Dynamic.
Dynamics. Yeah, Pan
Yes,
Dynamics. Yeah.
they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Winnipeg Steel Orchestra and Steel Expressions in Winnipeg. They're great bands as well.
Yeah.
Um, I've I've taken part in three Kerry West panoramas in 1998, 91, and 92.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and so if you ever have that going again, I have an axe to grind. So,
That sounds like a war, my man.
so I'm ready.
I have I have the panorama of awards right over
I
there. I can go
know,
grab
I
them.
know.
I'm
No, but
actually planning on doing it again. So
that'll be
we'll keep
nice.
in touch. Yeah.
You know, like it's like for me, it's I don't really have an accent. I just want to see
Yeah.
bands be together, even if it's not for a panorama. If it's in the same type of same way as Calgary was this year,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that was a wonderful expression of our art and our culture, and you could see it was well received too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe next year, if my band is up at full force, I might make an appearance in my band.
Yay.
Yeah.
So before we go, just Chris has another question. Is there a living arranger you would like to meet?
Living arranger? I can't
Hmm.
pick this one, but oh, there's a living. I would say Devon Stewart would be it for me.
Yeah.
Um, Amrit Samaru is another one. Um, plus, I'm a like Jit Samaru is the one that really
Yeah.
grabbed my attention. Him and
Yeah.
the Smooth Edwards and Booksy Sharp. Those three are the trinity for me. No disrespect to anybody else.
Oh no.
Brad Bradley is another one too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but for living, it'd be Devon Stewart and Amrit Samaru, definitely.
So if Dupont Super was here right now,
Mhm.
sitting talking to you, what's the one
Yeah.
question you would ask him?
Well, first I'd have to find my words. No, well, I've been following him for quite a while. So um, I would just like to get inside of his brain to kind of understand his his arranging style. You could say.
Hmm.
Um, you can see it is there's a lot of Jit Samaru in it because he did grow up in Renegades.
Yeah.
But it's something that's I don't know. He's like sometimes I just listen to like when I first hear like in the preliminaries I'm always at one or 2 points. I'm like, what? What is he doing? Like, this is insane.
You have to rewind just to see. Yeah.
Like in a good way, of course.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah. He'd be. Those would be the two for me, and just to get in their brain, just to understand what is like the thought process. When he did Year for Love, he did a slow down version, and then there's a video clip of him explaining each part and what, and he really paints a picture when he makes a
He does.
arrangement, right?
Yeah.
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 And that's one thing I try to do as well. Ken Professor Fillmore, Pan by Storm, for instance, that he painted an actual storm on stage, right?
Yeah.
And when people fight about Pan by Storm versus Iron Man, for that year for 1990 between Renegades and Fonka and Renegades came on top, I'm like people are quick to dismiss Renegades win, and I'm like I wouldn't have wanted to be a judge. I think it was just an alignment of the stars, how things worked out, and it still goes down as one of the greatest panoramas in history.
I agree. Yeah. Chris just said, let's make it happen. I agree with you, Chris. We're going to make that happen.
Yeah.
So before we get kicked off from Instagram, I just want to thank you for a great conversation. It was amazing.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate
having you on has my gears turning. I have ideas for you.
Well, I always feed off of people when I speak about Pana and being like, so my gears are turning as well.
Good. So before you leave, any Pan players that are now starting or in it right now and trying to do arranging or composing, what's one advice you'd give them?
My advice would be to learn the history. Understand what it took for Pan to get to this point. Honor those who have gone before us. Encourage those who are advancing at this point in time. I as a musician, I don't like to cry down any other musician. I try to encourage, because it's a dog world out there, unfortunately, and especially in the steelpan fraternity, sometimes there's a lot of fighting between, you like this group, or you like this group, and they don't have anything to do with one another. And like I've witnessed it many times, and I just want to see a unity within the steelpan fraternity. So I try to foster that as much as possible from my little point, a little dot in the map. So I just try to do what I can and honor those who have gone before us and encourage those that who are looking to do Pan in the future.
Great words to live by, everyone. Hopefully everyone was listening, because there's a quiz next week.
I'm marking it.
So on that note, again, thank you so much for this amazing conversation. We will definitely continue this for sure.
Absolutely. Definitely.
If there's anything coming up, just let me know. We will have you on. If I have an open discussion, just come on in.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Of course.
All right.
All right. So everyone who's watching, thank you for tuning in. It will be on my IGTV page and also YouTube later this week. And enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next week, I guess.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.